estimate the area between this function, the sine function. From 0 to pi, it would look like this. And the area between that and the x-axis. So how much is this area? And we're going to use 10 rectangles. The first thing to do is take this interval and divide it into 10 equal pieces. That is done with delta x. So first of all, subtract these two values to find the length of the interval. And then divide by 10. So that's pi over 10. So in other words, the interval is going to go from 0 to pi over 10. And then 2 pi over 10, 3 pi, etc., etc. Right before you get to pi, that's going to be 9 pi over 10. And now we're going to use the midpoint in order to get the height of the rectangle. So in other words, in this interval, use this point right here, go up to the function and draw a rectangle. And then the area of that rectangle will estimate how much area is there between 0 and pi over 10. And then find the midpoint here, go up, make a rectangle, find the area of that rectangle. So this midpoint, it's halfway between these two. Well, half of pi over 10 is pi over 20. Then, what about this one? Well, I know that it has to be something over 20. And if you make this over 20, you'd have to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So this would be 18 pi over 20. This one would be 20 pi over 20. So between an 18 pi over 20 and a 20 pi over 20, that's 19 pi over 20. Now another way that you can do that is, for the moment, leave off the pi. This is the number 9/10, and then this would just be a 1 if you leave off the pi. So another way you can do what I just did in red right there is just take the number 9/10, add the number 1, and then divide by 2. Next, ask the calculator to change that to a fraction, and it's 19 over 20. Then just attach the pi to it. Then of course we're going to use the calculator to add up these 10 rectangles. So that's going to be sum the sequence. And then we need the height, which is sine of x. And the width of each rectangle, which is delta x. Then tell the calculator x is the variable. And x is going to go from pi over 20 to 19 pi over 20. And last, you need to tell the calculator what delta x is. So go to second list, move over to math, and it's number 5. Then go back to second list, go to operations, and sequence is number 5. Then let me just clear out this old problem. This one's going to be sine of x times pi over 10. X is the variable. Go from pi over 20 to 19 pi over 20. And the step means the delta x, pi over 10. And then this will put it on the home screen and hit enter, and it's 1959 with a decimal, 1.959. Now to find the actual answer. So graph the sine function, change the window to go from 0 to pi. And then this can go from 0 to 1. And then you'll see the little graph of sine. Now to find the area, go to second calculate. And it's number 7 that finds the area. Go from 0 to pi. And the actual answer is a 2. So the actual answer is a 2. Our estimate, 1.959, was pretty good. That fact right there amazes me. You've got sine, which has all these irrational numbers, and yet the area is just exactly 2. Amazing.